Hello, my name is Asia Smith, and today I'll be discussing some topics on the Central American nation of Costa Rica. The official name of Costa Rica is La República de Costa Rica, and Costa Rica literally translates into Rich Coast. The capital of Costa Rica is San Jose. Costa Rica has two coastlines, one on the Pacific Ocean and the other on the Caribbean Sea, with Nicaragua to the north and Panama to the southeast. Among all the Latin American nations, Costa Rica ranks fourth on the Human Development Index. The country is known for its rugged and rainforested terrain, as well as its beautiful beaches and biodiversity. As a general overview, I will be discussing 3 topics on Costa Rica. First, I will be discussing the independence and development of the nation. Next, I will be briefly covering the historical nature of slavery as it pertains to Costa Rica. And lastly, I will be covering the topic of women and their impact on the women's rights movement in Costa Rica. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As explained before, for my first topic, I will be briefly covering the independence and development of the Costa Rican nation. The neat thing about Costa Rica is that there wasn't really any existing fighting in regards to Costa Rica's independence. Once Mexico declared its freedom from Spain, many parts of Central America had joined the Mexican Empire for a short time, leaving Costa Rica independent as well on September 15, 1821. By 1823, however, Costa Rica assisted in the creation of the United Provinces of Central America, but ties were broken when problems arose with other states within the Federation. Moreover, in 1962, the nation joined the Central American Common Market, an association created to navigate regional economic development. Moving forward, Costa Rica began to notice its potential for coffee cultivation and became extremely successful industry among the Central American region. Costa Rica also maintained an isolationism policy, but did not make Costa Rica completely immune to foreign conflicts. For example, William Walker was a large threat to Central America during the mid-19th century as his band of filibusters conquered Nicaragua in 1856. But thanks to Costa Rican troops, they were able to drive him out of the area. In 1871, a new constitution was adopted by the Costa Rican nation and existed until the mid-20th century. And in 1889, President Jose Joaquin Rodriguez would be the first considered entirely free and honest election in the entire Central American region, according to Britannica. The next topic I will cover is the history of slavery in Costa Rica. I find it truly fascinating to understand how countries like Costa Rica dealt with slavery in relation to the United States. Christopher Columbus was the first recorded discoverer of the country in 1502, and in 1561, Spain established their first colony named Cartago in Costa Rica. Throughout the 1600s, the elite from this capital city began to invest in cacao farms. The Spanish named this region Costa Rica, which translates to Rich Coast, because the conquistadors thought they would discover gold in its hills. In my research, I found that the first slaves were brought to Costa Rica by the Spanish conquistadors. Black slaves were brought here to work and live on these farms. Over time, the country began to notice that there was a decrease within racial differences among slaves and their slave owners. As white men took slave women into their homes and continued to have children, many of the slave owners would free the children. A similar occurrence would take place among the Indians and the blacks and their children. These children were referred to as the Zambos. Moreover, it was much less aggressive in Costa Rica than it was in other neighboring countries. However, on April 17th of 1824, Costa Rica fully authorized the abolition of slavery. Interestingly enough, in 1872, two large migrations of Jamaicans occurred during a significant time of railroad construction within the country. This influx of Jamaicans and Africans simultaneously allowed Costa Rica to be the world's largest banana producer in 1911. Well into the 1940s, blacks were still not considered citizens of the Costa Rican nation. So in 1948, black workers took part in the 1948 Civil War to guarantee them the right of citizenship. Unfortunately, the black population began as a result of slavery. The African population did, however, contribute greatly to the Costa Rican economy with their agricultural benefactions, as well as constructional contributions with the railroad, ultimately connecting the country of Costa Rica to the rest of the Central American region. Just like the Africans in Costa Rica, women also suffer from inequality as well. My third topic will be discussing women's rights and roles in Costa Rican history. Women are constantly dealing with gender pay gaps, sexual violence, and most disturbingly, femicide. I want to take some time to explore some impactful women in Costa Rica. The first is Francisca Pancha Carrasco. Francisca Pancha Carrasco fought in Costa Rica's army as a rebel against William Walker and his filibuster army. Her main job involved cooking and caring for the injured. However, she was a skilled shooter during battle. She was honored by the government and helped Costa Rica in their fight for independence. The next woman I will be talking about is Emma Gamboa. Emma Gamboa was born in October of 1901 in San Ramon de Alajuela and was an influential Costa Rican educator. In the 1930s and 1940s, Gamboa was a leading advocate for the women's rights movement in Costa Rica and was constantly encouraging women to campaign and march for that equal right. Emma Gamboa was the first cabinet minister of Latin America and a huge contributor to the suffragist movement in Costa Rica, leading the women's rights movement until they gained the right to vote in 1948. Moreover, in 1950, she was declared Woman of the Year by Mademoiselle magazine. Unfortunately, Gamboa died in 1970. However, after she died, she was recognized on the 10,000 colon bill. Lastly, I want to mention Laura-Chinchilla Miranda. Laura-Chinchilla Miranda was born on March 28th of 1959 in Desamparados, Costa Rica, and would eventually become Costa Rica's first female president in 2010. She is so inspiring in the sense that she was also vice president as well as Minister of Justice in the OAS. She was extremely involved in Costa Rica's social issues and even demonstrated a decline in femicide rates in her country during her presidency. It is devastating to see how women are treated globally and all around the world, especially in Costa Rica. However, it is comforting to know that women are fighting to make a difference and diminish mistreatment and equality as well. For my closing remarks, I just want to say I had a blast learning about each and every one of the topics I chose to go over. I think it's fair to say that Costa Rica is not only a beautiful country with fun tourist attractions and beautiful beaches, but also an amazing country that is doing a variety of things to improve the nation as a whole, which I find noteworthy, intriguing, and interesting. Obviously, there's always room for progress and always room for improvement, but I think Costa Rica is undoubtedly stepping in the right direction as far as social issues go, and as well as equality. I'm Asia Smith, and that's a wrap for my Costa Rican presentation. Thank you for your time.